I like to eat more carbs. I like to eat more carbs. I know I'm not a singer. And we're gonna make raw vegan brownies that will blow your ever-loving mind. Ah, figalicious. Figalicious. One day my mama's gonna watch one of these videos and go, "That's not my son." All right, guys, I talked about this the other day on the Facebook page and the blog. These awesome raw vegan brownies that I made. I ate half the pan the first time. They're very easy to make, and if I made them, they were easy to make. So we're going to get started. The first thing that you want to do is you need some dates, and I buy my dates from this company right here, the Oasis Date Gardens. These are some lovely organic medjool dates, large and fancy they were called. They're pretty big, but I've had them for a while and they've started to dry a little bit, even more so than they were when they got here. So when they start getting like that, especially for this recipe, now not so much for putting them in a smoothie, which you can, and I have a date in my morning smoothie every day, but for something like this where you need the sweetness, but we're also looking for a binding type consistency, they need to see if we can't reconstitute some of that. So in this little cup here, I've taken these dates and I have them in some water, and I'm going to let them sit there for a little while. So you're going to need to do that unless your dates are really nice, and they're never going to be juicy. Well, I guess if you bought, I guess you could go get them juicy, but you're probably not going to get them juicy. So that's the first thing you're going to want to do in, I don't know, hour or so. These have been sitting about 30 minutes. The other thing we're going to do is we're going to need a vegan egg. Let me tell you, first of all, if you're a vegan, especially if you're a raw food vegan, and you don't need anything to get a source of B12, you're going to need to take B12. The other thing you're going to need to do is especially depending on what kinds of foods you eat, if you're doing the raw till 4 thing like Fraley advises, some of the foods you could eat could actually cause your omega-3 to omega-6 get way out of whack. So about 2 tablespoons of flaxseed, brown flaxseed is what you need. Now, I grind my own, but these flax seeds will keep for a long time. I don't know, a year or something like this. I saw, I believe it was Dr. Graham, probably, I hate to misattribute this, but he was talking about how flax seeds are one of the most perfect foods in the world. They're perfectly packaged. But you got to crack them open to get the goodie out of them. So I keep them like this, and then I'll pop enough of them to last me a week or two in my little thing there, and puff them into nice little powder and put them in a Ziploc bag and keep them in the fridge, and they're good to go, and then I just do more when I'm ready. You should be putting 2 tablespoons of that in a smoothie every day. You need that and get the omega-3 levels right. So the beautiful thing about it is with a little bit of water, you can create a vegan egg. It's very simple. Now, here's my little tablespoon measurer. Already in this bowl here, I've already put 2 tablespoons of water. So all I'm going to do is I'm just going to add a tablespoon of ground flaxseed powder, whatever you want to call it. There's a few ways you can make vegan eggs. I've tried 2 of them. This is the one I'll probably always use, because it doesn't really have too much of a taste. It's pretty neutral. I mean, if you just eat it out of the bowl right here, it's not going to taste super amazing. It's not going to taste horrible, though. Trust me, I tried it. But it is so, like, if you've cracked an egg and you've watched it run and it's goopy and it has that consistency that's used for baking, even though these are going to be raw and we're not going to bake them, I want them to have that consistency, and this ground flaxseed is something that you can actually eat like that. And then what you're going to want to do is let this sit a little while. I would say 20 minutes, maybe 30 minutes. But you're going to come back to it, and it's going to be like a goopy egg. And it already has some of that consistency going on now. If you can picture an egg coming out of a shell, that's basically what we got going on now. It'll get a little bit better as it sits there a little bit longer. So I am just going to put a tad more water to this, make sure it's mixed really well, and then we're going to let it sit, and then we're going to come back and we're going to make raw vegan brownies that will blow your ever-loving mind. All right, it's been 20 or 30 minutes or so. I think things have come along really nicely. I have my nice goopy vegan egg here, one of the easiest things to make in the world. Look at that. Look at that goopiness. So we're going to set that right there. So what you're going to need is some pecans. Now, I understand you can use other nuts. I actually stole this recipe from somebody who I will link below. And when I say stole, I mean I borrowed it very nicely. And I'll link you to her channel because she's really awesome. But I tweaked it a little bit. It's not exactly her recipe. But she used pecans, and so I'm going to use pecans. So I got 2 cups of pecans in the nifty old food processor. So I'm not sure how much of that you can see now, but at some point it stopped swirling all the way around and it started just climbing up the sides because it's really powdery now. And that's where we want to get it. All right, that's enough of that. So what we have is a really nice, it's a really nice powdery consistency of the pecans that are in there now. And now it's just a simple process of adding the dates to it. Depending on how hoss of a food processor you got, depending on how many dates you can put in there. I mean, I love this thing. I'm not rich. I'm kind of cheap, and so I got it off Amazon for 50 bucks or something. I don't have a $1,000 Vitamix. I want one if anyone wants to buy me one. So you just have to, just have to look out for that. But I'm gonna start putting these dates in here. You're gonna need around 10, something like that. 6, 8, 10, 12. This is where your sweetness is gonna come from, and some of your binding is gonna come from. So I'm just going to start out with putting 2 in there, and we're going to go very slowly, and we get it done. Looks like I'm going to wind up with about 8 of these in there, provided my food processor hangs in there with me for the duration. Alright, now we're going to put our binding agent in there. It's pretty bound as it is, but this is really going to help with the consistency. From what it looks like in here, I don't think I'm going to use this whole thing, but I'm going to put probably about half of it in here. And I may even wind up taking some of this out and mixing it by hand. We'll see. Looks like I'm putting about 3/4 in there. We'll blend it a little bit and see what happens. Ah, yeah. Okay. Lucy, you got some explaining to do. That has no relevance to this. I just like saying that. We need sugar. Coconut sugar. I'm going to put 2 tablespoons of the coconut sugar. Now, you can make these without coconut sugar, and the dates will provide plenty, especially if you put enough dates. The dates will provide plenty of sweetness. So it's kind of up to you. HealthWorks organic cacao powder. If you're like me, I don't think there's anywhere I can get this where I live. So I get it off Amazon. It was highly rated. You don't want to get no sweetened Hershey's cocoa though. Come on. I'm going to put 2 tablespoons of this in here. Two tablespoons. And we're going to blend it again, boys. Here we go. Oh, dear Jesus. I can't even tell you what this looks like. Oh, God. Oh, my God. Okay. Let's get this done. What you're going to want to do is, you're going to want to dump that in there like that, eh? Wow, that just came right out of there. Blades and all. So, What you're left with is some clumpiness in the pan, as you can see. This is the fun part. If you have kids, get them to help. They'll feel really special. You just mash it down in there. Now, I'm just by myself. I think I'm going to share some of this with a friend of mine. And I've been wanting my mom to try it too, so I may do that. But I am just going to make this where it's half a pan, so they'll be nice and thick. Oh, God, this is phenomenal. God, I wonder if the camera's getting this. Oh, my God, look at that. Holy cow! I want to eat it all right now. See if I can do a few angles so you can see how beautiful that is. Oh, my God. Jesus. What's left? Well, you can put it in the freezer for a couple hours, or refrigerator for a couple hours, let it cool and get stiff. I'm going to pop this bad boy in the freezer so I can eat it even sooner. I would say don't leave it in there till it freezes though. Maybe a half-half method works best. Freeze it for 20 or 30 minutes and then put it in the fridge for another hour, something like that. Look at it. Look at it. Oh. I must eat a piece of this immediately. Oh, Lord, have mercy. Look at this. Look at this brownie. Like, look at this brownie. I defy you to see a more beautiful brownie anywhere. Oh my God. I love being a raw food vegan. Oh my God.